Hey everybody, this is Jen Schaller. I own a running store in Edwardsville called RunWell, and we are launching our first ever podcast. So we're super excited. The purpose of our podcast is we want to celebrate the people in our community. We have a lot of seemingly normal, ordinary people going about their day, and on their off time, they're doing amazing shit that we want everyone to know about. We know a ton of cool people, and they're just like you and me and all of us, but they have a dream and a goal, and they took action. So we hope someone listening out there today who feels like maybe they're a passenger in their own life, that they'll scoot over into the driver's seat and that you'll be inspired to, do something that you've been wanting to do in your life. So with that, our first ever podcast guests, it's a group of 4. They call themselves the Homies, and they had an event called the Homies Hundo. Our four athletes are Derek Haas. Say hey, Derek.
Hello.
Jacqueline Sommer.
Hi.
Diana Pollow.
Hello.
And Tim DeWitt.
Hello.
And on Saturday, October 3rd, they embarked upon an epic day that I think everyone needs to hear the story firsthand. So I'm so happy that you guys could all be here today. I know it was a lot to juggle to get you together, so we really appreciate it. Thank you. And I want to start with a little bit of background, and I'm curious how all of you know each other. So how did this friendship evolve, emerge?
I think it was DC's idea. You were the ringleader of bad decisions.
And DC is Diana, everybody, just
Diana
so you
Cortez
know.
Pollow,
So she goes by DC?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, I think we're all here together because of Derek. We all signed up for Hennepin 100, and I think we started training together. And I've always been a solo runner. I just kind of do my own thing and don't really kind of socialize much. And so he's always been poking like, "Come on, let's go run trails," or "Let's go do this and be social."
You need that one crazy friend,
Yeah.
right? That pushes you.
He's definitely the one that's brought us together. And he's like, "We're going to do some training runs." So he put a Facebook group. I'm pretty sure we're in like 100 group messages because of Derek Haas. Thank you. So yeah, that's how we kind of got together. And if it wasn't for Derek, I wouldn't have got to know Tim, Jacqueline. So
how did you two, Jacqueline, how did you end up with this group? Was it through Facebook or?
I think Crosby maybe mentioned to me that you were
Yeah?
because I wasn't going to run a 100-miler this year. I told myself no 100.
Famous last words,
And
right?
that's why, DC's to blame, because I think you mentioned you signed up and were like, pressuring me. Yeah. 'Cause I told myself, run 50Ks, run 50 miler, get that under control, and 100 is down the road until Hennepin came about.
Yeah, I actually registered for Hennepin with a friend of mine, a longtime family friend, Scott, and so we were kind of doing our own thing, and then I found out that there was other local people that had already been registered, and then the group just formed. And
Yeah, I guess,
yeah, there's
You mentioned Crosby is another friend of ours.
Crosby Keller, shout out.
I think we all kind of knew him independently. At least I did.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I didn't know any one of the 3 of these folks here sitting with
You've
us.
been missing out.
Well, I was before registering for the Hennepin, I didn't run with people very often. Before Corona, especially. So when I found out through Crosby that there's several other people signed up for the Hennepin, and COVID-19 happened, I thought, well, I might as well start training with some people, especially some people that are from the same town as I am. So that's kind of how it happened.
yeah,
When
that's
you-
pretty much
When you all started training, was the race still on?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Until August.
me
Yeah.
personally, I mean, March, end of February, early
Yeah.
March is when everything kind of started happening. I think I thought, okay, a month, 2, maybe 3 months of kind of like weirdness. I don't think any of us had any idea that like, we're still
we'd still have a mask on our face. In November.
Well, yeah, I think everyone figured by early October race. Okay, everyone kind of sit in time out for a couple months, like whatever. October stuff's cool again, and that like obviously wasn't the case.
And for all the listeners out there, we are doing this podcast through a pandemic, and Jen is wearing a mask.
Right, because we might listen to this years from now, and it's like
was it pre-COVID or post-COVID?
I think Derek stayed very positive and very optimistic. Well, I think I can at least speak for myself. I was like, this is not going to happen. Yeah. But he's like, no, this number, and he was like running all the numbers, and he's very data-driven, and he really remained very optimistic. And then we got the news that we were all kind of dreading, and I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh, thank goodness I can stop running so much. But all 3 of them are like, okay, what are we going to do now? And I was like, oh, man.
Right. Hope you enjoyed that 5 minutes.
Right.
Yes. So that kind of leads us into the next question, because, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and, people are stockpiling toilet paper, and some of us are like sucking our thumbs in the fetal position over in the corner and like eating cookies in bed, and not you guys. You guys are like, I don't know, you want to just do it without, there's no finish line, there's no official time, you don't get a belt buckle, there's no aid support for you there's no course actually. So, how did you decide that in the middle of a pandemic, which I think this is totally badass, by the way, that, you took this opportunity to go for it, and how did you decide you were just going to do it anyway?
I think it was just we were so deep into it already.
Yeah,
we had just put so much time already, and
didn't want to see it go to waste.
Yeah. I mean, might as well just put your training to, I guess, put it out there and see what you can do.
Yeah. When we spent so much time together too, we became pretty good friends.
Yeah.
Every Saturday we were running a couple.
And I think we hyped each other up, like, we're gonna do this. We're just gonna get all the families in the towns, and they're gonna come out and support us, and everyone's gonna be happy. Blah blah blah.
We're not getting up at 3:00 every Saturday morning for nothing.
Exactly, and that's how it was.
Yeah,
it was butterly like Saturday morning runs, and we were doing 20+ mile those Saturday mornings.
And it's a hard pill to swallow that it's sucked away. Like the event itself, it's kind of, that's your party, that's your celebration. And I think a lot of people, they did have their races wiped clean, deferred, they went virtual or whatever, and it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. But this is like a 100-mile ultra marathon that you've trained for 4 months.
Right.
And I'm curious too, just while I'm thinking about it, who has completed 100 miles prior to this?
None of us.
No one. Okay.
I think that's why we agreed to follow. Because the race officially dropped about a month and a half.
It was August time frame.
So we're just kind of plugging along, figuring, well, there's been nothing, so you just have to assume, 100-mile race, you just can't a month out start training for and finish it. So you have to keep running, even though in your gut it's probably going to drop. But you can't not stop training. So at that point, we had all invested, hours into it. So really, there's no other choice but to run it, because otherwise you wasted.
This was the most time-consuming training I've ever done in my life. I spend very little time with my family on the weekends. My 4-year-old son would always say, "Where are you going, Mom? With your running friends?" Yes, son, I am.
Yep, that is so true. And okay, so it's first time attempt for everybody before that weekend. Everybody's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. We've never been here in this place before. So this is what we want to hear about, the day. We want you to take us through the day from beginning to end. We want to know what happened when the alarm clock went off that morning, and what went through your mind, and because each one of you, it was the same goal and the same day and the same location, but everybody walked in their own shoes. Your stories, intersected and, connected, but everybody's got their own story. So I say we dig in and let's hear it. Who got up the earliest?
My story started the night before.
Okay. Then we need to hear from Jacqueline.
Well, I mean, as we talked about earlier, I have two very busy boys, and they have a busy life. And I decided to go to my son's baseball game the night before because I'm like 6 o'clock game, which happened to be in Edwardsville. We live in O'Fallon. Didn't think it would be a big deal. I love watching my kids play, and I was like, I'm going to be home. If I'm home, it's not like I'm going to go to bed early or, it'll keep my mind off of things. The game went 3 hours. So it's like approaching 9 o'clock, and I'm texting them, kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost 9 o'clock. They're still playing. It's freezing outside. I'm 30 minutes from home. Still have quite a bit of things to do at home. And so I was a little panicked that night. And so I don't talk a lot about my running outside of my running group. And so I kind of had all those feelings internal that night. And so we get home at probably 9:30, maybe a little bit later. And my husband is amazing. He'll come up probably a lot when we talk about the day, but I couldn't do any of this without him. And so we got home, and I went straight to bed while he packed up the truck and got everything ready for the next day. And I didn't find out till the next morning that his truck actually died that night. He was leaving to go get us ice and fill up the cooler.
Oh my God.
His truck died. He had to jump start it like at 11 o'clock at night to go get us ice, and it was a really long night for him. And I mean, and he was going to be up for the same amount of time as us.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I didn't know any of that. I took a couple kids Benadryl that night so I could sleep without waking up. So I actually slept like a baby. And so, yeah, that's how my night started. But then the next morning, I felt wonderful, and I was up and happy and ready to go. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who got up the earliest out of the group? Like, what was your drive like, or who? Do you know? Throw out a time where you. So it started at 7.
Yeah, we started at 7.
Started at 7. I'm pretty
think we
sure
all-
I got up at 3:30.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get up that early.
Well, we know that.
I'm the coffee drinker of the group. I get up really
So am
early.
There's a
I.
process.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
process.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I am always 2 to 3 hours
The
before
food,
we
the
start.
processing
Yeah.
of the food.
Right. Yeah.
Leaving the food at home.
Your super awesome braids probably took a while. Your braids, your gorgeous braids. that
No,
you
I
wore.
got my
Remember
braids
that
done
day?
the day before, so that's not,
Yeah.
I wasn't doing hair at that
Some
morning.
people can roll right out of bed, but for
Yeah.
100, there is a process.
Oh, yeah.
You got to just.
And I think
ease
for
into the
this,
day.
too, even though it was self-supported, I was probably more nervous than I ever had in, like, a real race. I don't know. It was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go try to spend my entire day, like, trying to accomplish something really big. And then just seeing everybody come together in the community and our friends, like, that was probably the best part of it, and that we can do this together and talk about it here today as the first episode of this podcast. So I was really nervous, like, I needed to tune out. I went to bed, like, I think I was 8 o'clock. And then Jacqueline was,
sorry.
sending us messages about, like, I'm still out here and it's cold. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out for you, but I can't think about this. Like, I need to go to bed. So melatonin, sleepy sleep, and yep. And then when the alarm hits at 3:30, that was it. And I remember just driving there to Edwardsville, and I was like, what am I going to do next after this? If, either if it goes well or not. Like, what am I going to do next? I was already thinking about the next thing I wanted to do. So
That's funny because that's just how your brain's wired.
Yeah.
Like this, and then what?
I think the most stressful thing about the day before, it was either the whole park situation. I think we're potentially questioning.
some of us were stressed out about the
Well, yeah.
location.
Well,
in
yeah.
Norris.
I think there was some just not understanding.
Miscommunication, yeah.
Of the route that we were going to be running from the park, like
Okay.
onto the
Yeah.
trail, and some concerns of the flatness of that, and so there was some kind of scramble. But aside from that, I think the most stressful thing for me was triple, quadruple checking all the drop bags, making sure you had our
make
stuff,
sure
because when we started essentially almost an hour away from home. So once you get up there, like if you don't have something, it needs to be something that someone can make a run and go grab. If it's
I
like
wasn't
food or
worried about
drink.
it, Jen, because I knew someone can come here and get something from you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
somebody go. I can
drive.
well.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that So I think I'm probably a little bit different. I woke up in the morning and just didn't even like think about it. Like I tend to do all my planning and like stretching prior. So like at that point, it's just you just show up and do it. Like
Your
the whole
autopilot.
Well, yeah, the whole purpose. Like you put in all whatever the stress and all that happens, and then you just show up and do it. Like because everything's like there, right? You just make it happen.
And that is actually real life, though, because you may have forgotten something. It didn't get in your bag. Your crew didn't bring it, or so that. And then it's troubleshooting. Now what do I do?
Right.
Like I got to figure something out.
Well,
I don't have my stuff.
And then it's like the whole goal, right, is to go in like with a calm like brain, and you just do it and just zone out and go. But yeah, you forget like something silly. And next thing you know, your brain's on tilt, and that's all you're thinking about. Like
You didn't tape your nipples.
you do that. It's like, man, that's something like stupid easy. I should have like, how did I miss that? And then it's like, oh, what else did I miss? And then it's just like this rabbit hole, right? So like, it's just I don't know. It's one of those things that like Friday was constantly. I just checked my bag 30 minutes ago, but I'm gonna check it again and again and again, like just to make sure, because I don't want to worry about it the day of.
I'm with Derek. Like, I did a similar thing. I actually packed 90% of my stuff the weekend prior, not the night prior, but the weekend prior, because I know that if I don't prepare or plan ahead, then I'm going to be stressed. So I was like, well, I'm just going to know exactly what I'm going to use, what running stuff I'm going to use throughout the week, because there wasn't going to be a whole lot of running happening throughout the week, right? And then everything else is just going, and I'm going to like seclude it from everything, everything else that I need throughout the week. So when I woke up the day of the run, I didn't feel stressed at all, really. I was really just excited, and then just enjoyed the ride with my brother-in-law on the way up. So it was a combination of preparation that led to that not being stressed, and then having trust with my crew, my wife and my brother-in-law and everybody else that was going to be there to help. I just trusted that they were just going to figure things out so that I didn't have to go through that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh crap phase, when I realized, I actually didn't tape my nipples.
Right, and I can do it right now.
I forgot to do that, but I have stuff that I need, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I lay all my stuff out. I can't pack it early because I need to see it. If I pack it, I'm going to be like, what's in there? So I leave it. My laundry room counter had little piles of things for the week leading up, and then I didn't pack it until about the day before. But yeah, I was.
Well, and the forecast changed a couple of times too. Yeah. Like, I mean, of course, at this point, like you're thinking like 100 times throughout the day, like what's weather looking like? Is it gonna be hot? Is it gonna be cold? Is it gonna rain?
It's the Midwest, all of that.
And I think initially it was looking like rain, and then it looked clear, and then we got. I mean, it dumped pretty good for like 2 hours, right in the middle, like right before it got dark. Yeah. And that, I mean, it was kind of like I've always liked running in the rain. But like if you think about the fact that we've been up since 5, 6 in the morning and been out in the cold and like you're exposed and you're wet and then it's like time to run in the dark. Like I think ultimately that's what did me in.
Let's go back though. I don't want to get too far ahead because we got to unfold the story of the 7 a.m. start time. So we're starting at 7-ish. I don't know if we started on time or not.
I started at 7:01. You guys started at 7.
DC and I like, where's Gary?
Okay. Sometimes the bathroom hits or something.
I was just jamming my vest with snacks.
Yeah.
We give Derek a hard time because he takes a while to get ready.
Diva? No.
We've definitely learned our differences and our individual little quirks.
So now, did you all start off together? Was it like a pack of 4 and we were doing it, in step together and we're heading out on, how's the route looking? We're going...
Myself, Diana, Jacqueline, and Tim ran together, and Derek had a different route planned for himself just to get the proper mileage, I guess, so we can get to 50 before the certain time we wanted to leave from Edwardsville to head to O'Fallon. So he did his own thing for how long, like 9-10 hours or whatever? Until we were getting ready to head to O'Fallon's when we met with Derek, and then Tim. Did you leave before us? I don't even remember.
I left a few minutes before you guys.
I was like, where is Timmy?
So at what part in the race are you leaving?
So the plan was to do 50 miles in Edwardsville.
Yeah.
Okay.
On MCT trails, all the great trails that you guys have up here. And so it was Oh gosh.
We started at
We left
7, so like we were trying to
so
by between like 6 and 7 ish. We were trying to make our way back to O'Fallon.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started off in Edwardsville. The 3 of you were together, and you're separate, Derek, right?
Yeah, they were doing 6 mile out and back, so 3
Okay.
and back, and
And
I
you
was.
picked different legs, like different spokes almost.
Yep.
So you're just
Yeah.
doing out and back, so you're
Yeah.
coming back to the park, just so everybody can get a
Yeah.
visual of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just to me, I did 8. So I did an extra mile
Okay.
out and then back because where we were at, there were 6 spokes if you count Goshen.
Yeah.
So like divided out like half the mileage, 50 by 6. It was like 8 and some change, 8.25,
Okay.
8.3. I was trying to hit each spoke once.
So he's our math guy. We gotta
So I mean, it's like a variety thing too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean, like okay, you got a little bit of each direction.
Yeah.
You know, you do it once. I can handle like once. If it gets more than once, then
Well, and sometimes
there's
too,
some-
like mentally, is it going to work out for you if you didn't hit that 50-mile mark and you've got 2 miles left before you are going to leave and go to your second location for the rest of the run? You know, so for mentally, it might have worked out better for you to, kind of do your own
Well, and
legs.
it was cool that day. I think the high was like mid 50s. So I mean, realistically speaking, like all summer, it was super
But
hot.
those raindrops were cold.
So did
Yeah.
everybody cruise through 50 miles? Or tell me about this first 50
Yeah.
miles.
Well, Tim was awesome. He had lined up these pacers for like every single leg that we had. So it's like we had somebody fresh to talk to.
Yeah,
like, Tim
that
knew them
was
all, but they
nice.
were new people to
Yeah.
us.
Hey, new stories.
Well, yeah.
Awesome. Like,
Yeah.
they took us to different depending on who was running with us. That's how we determined like which route we were going to take and
Yeah.
what trail we were going to go on. But it was really nice to meet new people and like have every single one of the people he brought out they were great conversationalists and like just really entertained us.
That's really important.
Can we like pause for a second and give everyone some credit because
Sure.
that was like and I think everyone said like Jacqueline mentioned her husband, Tim mentioned family, like we all ran for a long time, but we also had people that like were there the whole time that didn't sleep. Like as much as we were like wore down, like there's a lot of people in the same boat with us that.
They're basically
do our
waiting all
call-outs at
day
the
for
end.
us.
We're going to call out
yeah,
everybody towards the end. I mean, you can talk about your husband. It's
No, I'm not.
But yeah, so the 50 miles. So you had pacers that would jump in, run with you, keep your mind
Yep.
off of the miles.
Yep.
Really, like just kind of help you stay focused. And was anybody reminding you to eat, or you guys had your system?
Yeah,
down?
I think
Yeah.
we all had
We had a
someone.
different system of
Yes.
like food.
Yeah, I had my husband back there. Crosby pretty much was able to keep track of all of us and what
Yeah.
we needed, and he was very helpful with all of that. But
Crosby's ran a handful of 100-milers, so he was
Awesome.
He's awesome, and we had like a lot of first-time like crew people, which was cool because it was local and it was centralized, so you were kind of coming back like to the crew area every hour and a half, whatever. So it made it easy for people who didn't have a lot of experience to. And it made it easier for them.
Understand these psychopaths.
They'll never understand,
No.
but they're there to help.
But he's been through it, right? So hey, how much do you drink?
Right.
You
Yep.
need to eat.
Yeah.
Here, have a turkey sandwich, have a can of Coke, have
Exactly.
800 pickles. Whatever. Like he knows. So
Can you really eat too many pickles?
no.
So it's good to have that person. That's what your crew's there for.
definitely needed that person. I was able to eat really well for the first 50, and after that,
So that is pretty amazing, though, and I think people listening are going to be pretty amazed that you guys just cruise through the first 50.
I think the part of the credit, of course, we had amazing crews. None of us could have done what we did without people that were there to support us. But we, at least the 3 of us, Jacqueline and DC and me, we really just took our time.
Yeah.
We had what I felt like was a pretty realistic goal. I think the ladies felt it was like a quick goal.
What was the goal?
Well, I had in my head I wanted to finish in 20 or 21 hours.
That's moving. That's moving. Yeah.
And we won't spoil, how it ends.
Yeah, so you gotta stay tuned.
Right?
But we were going pretty slow, and we took frequent walk breaks.
We did, yeah.
We watched our paces. We didn't, try to I don't know, we weren't constantly looking at our watches, but
Right.
we just allowed ourselves to enjoy it.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think that was super important to
There was a moment when
well we
I
were
was in
able
the
to cruise
porta
through.
potty for at least 6+ minutes, and you
Yeah,
guys,
Tim and I kept
nobody
running.
was yelling at me. It was nice.
So nice. They're so patient.
We all knew, like, okay, so I guess that was
Yeah,
one
it
of the
wasn't-
beauties of this whole doing it on our own thing was we didn't have the pressure if this is a race. If I don't
Yes,
finish this,
yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
get a buckle.
Yeah.
You know, so that pressure wasn't there.
Yeah.
He had that very ambitious goal.
Yeah.
We were like, and like under 24 hours would be nice, but we didn't. I mean, I honestly did not think it would be under 24 hours. So I was like,
Yeah.
I went into it thinking if it's 25, 26, I'm okay with that
Right.
too. We're
It's
just out here
100.
doing what we
Yeah.
want to do. Yeah.
3 days would have been cool too.
I think she's napping over there. I'm not sure.
And I think that was the one thing for sure that changed my mindset. Given the way we were doing it as opposed to a race, is like normally like race mode is like buckle down, like go hammer it, like you put in the work, just go unload, the day of. This was about like enjoying it, like because it's the first time for all of us. It was unique, like how we were doing it, like kind of. We had a big plan, but we were also kind of winging it. Like no one really knew what was going to happen. So like enjoy it because like you might do a 100-mile race again, but it's going to be a 100-mile race. It's not going to be this. So like all those little things, the rain absolutely sucked, but like it was also awesome at the same time.
I enjoyed the rain.
I enjoyed it
At
too.
what point did the rain come in your day?
Midday?
It was-
After,
was
I would
midday?
have said like early.
Yeah, maybe.
So you were still in Edwardsville.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was maybe 2-3-ish. Like we
Yeah.
were probably marathon 50K ish
Yeah.
in. I mean,
Yeah.
we had maybe closer to.
Actually, because you know what? It was after 25 because that's another reason to have a good crew. Because I almost left without a shirt when it started raining.
Yeah.
Like I had gone to the bathroom, I had changed my clothes. I was literally I'd run the last 6 miles in just a sports bra and shorts because it was really nice. And the rain had started right as we were getting ready to take off. And I was like getting ready to walk away from our crew and start running. And it was either Ryan or Crosby. They're like,
You should put a
you
shirt
need
on.
a jacket. And I was like, do I? And we started running and it was cold rain. And I'm like, so that 6 miles, if I had gone out without that jacket,
Oh my gosh.
could have changed the entire rest of my
I
day.
think that was probably about 35ish because we were on a little bit different intervals distance, but we were like pace wise, like we were all about the same. Like
Yeah.
because it was.
That's probably exactly right because I change clothes every quarter. So I changed clothes at 25 and I had already run one in what I was wearing.
Because
so
I think I was out on
would have been around 31-ish.
maybe I was getting ready to start my 5th loop, and it was looking bad, and Melissa was going to ride her bike with her.
Oh,
two
yeah.
dogs.
That's the story.
And we got like half mile out, and it just started dumping rain.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
so
was cold rain.
it poured. And it
did.
wasn't like
It
a
was-
light,
It did.
easy,
Hard,
gentle rain.
big raindrops.
Yeah,
It was a little
Like
windy.
just kissing your face.
Yeah.
It's like smacking you.
Yes. So our crew had to pack everything up and get it under the tents. while
Yeah.
we were
Oh my
gone.
gosh.
Yeah.
So I thought the same thing. It's like I might be able to get this loop in without a jacket, and then someone no idea who it was, take a rain jacket because Melissa had her little like thing on her bike and like put your jacket there, and if you need it, you can like grab it. And it like not even like 3 minutes later, it started dumping rain.
Yep.
And there we have it.
But
so
it was nice.
yeah, so
I
it's
enjoyed
raining
it.
on you.
Yeah.
And then so how many miles or hours or how long did it rain on you?
Well, I think it rained then until about our 50 when we were heading back.
That was-
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
probably at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because I did 2 loops. In the rain.
Tell us how the feet are feeling then. The feet are wet, they're
Oh, man.
blistering, or
For me, I was changing my socks almost every time I came back. So about every hour and a half, I was changing my socks or my shoes. I think I went through 8 pairs of socks.
Oh, you got sweaty feet, man.
I was changing my socks frequently, and I had I think 1 blister at the end of it,
Good.
which is amazing because I have struggled with blisters in the past.
Well, and then you throw all this moisture, and then all of
yeah.
a sudden you get blisters in
So
strange places sometimes.
I was using foot powder. I discovered that's what works for me.
Good.
So, I think that helped a lot. So frequent change of socks. It was kind of funny, I thought, because my wife, she would get the socks, hold them open, and my brother-in-law would dump the
There you go.
That's a good
This things your crew does for you. That, some things that you'll do unspeakable things for your runner.
It's interesting what works for everybody too, because I use trail toes on my feet, and I changed every quarter, and so I didn't, and that was socks and shoes, so I only changed at 25, 15, 75.
Okay.
And I walked away with 0 blisters as well, which was amazing.
Awesome.
So,
Well, every time you watch any documentary about someone who's done 100 miles, the obligatory nasty feet pictures. So far the feet are fine. They're getting wet, but you're changing your shoes and socks and.
I didn't until the halfway mark.
Wow.
Squirrel's nut butter, shameless plug. Noah had used his body glide on the toes and stuff where you blister up, and in the summer heat, you just sweat so much that instantly that stuff just is gone an hour in. And Squirrel's, it's a little more like Vaseline. It's kind of oily, so for me, I had switched to that maybe just a couple weeks prior. And it's more oily, so it tends to stick on your skin and stay longer.
Yeah.
And it just lubed it up real good before we even began. And
perfect. Yeah. So how are the spirits? Are you guys laughing? Are you talking? Are you quiet now?
We talked the whole time.
I do want to say that Jacqueline would make us at least every hour or two tell us what we were grateful for, and that was really kind of a game changer to just hear each other what we're grateful for, going out for our next leg. And so we would go around and say we're grateful for that time. And it was good. I'm so glad that we did that.
Yeah, because it's easy to slip down into this negative place, and then you start asking yourself questions. You never want to ask yourself questions, what are we doing? You've got to, just be spinning it positive.
I had to stay on top of that because I tend to be one that gets negative quickly. And so I just made it my goal that day to not ever say anything negative, that it was positive. Every single time we came in, it's on video over and over and over. Every time we came in, we said, "How you guys doing?" I said, I feel great. And I said that all day long. And we just talked about what we were grateful for. And I managed to stay positive for all day. Yeah.
Because mentally, that at some point, it's mental. It's mental. There's, why are you taking one more step? And if you're not enjoying it and you're telling yourself you're not enjoying it, we're out here doing something that you love. You're moving your body, you've got a big goal. So I love the fact
and this is a thing that a lot of people will not dare touch. You hear people non-runners that say, "You ran how much?" I don't even like to ride that long in my car. And so it's just do you guys eat and stop? Do you just a non-stop? There's all these questions. So to them, it's we're doing something really heroic, and then for us, it's just it's just another. It's our hobby. It's what we love to do.
But it's interesting because you can watch their mind just being blown because they just can't wrap their head around it. That what'd you do? Right. And so. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up and ate breakfast again. And wait, you were still running that whole time? People are I no comprehend. So, all right. And what do you say to those people when they ask you why did you do that? Why did you want to do that? What do you tell them? Because everybody has their own reason why, right?
I think, we could probably go around and talk about our personal whys as why we run. And
no, why this? Why 100 miles?
Oh, 100 miles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't really have an answer. A new challenge.
I think it's a new challenge for me. I enjoy the long distance. I started running for myself as something therapeutic. After I lost my dad, I found myself going to running a lot just because I felt like when I was out there running on my own, I could solve all the problems. And it was just me and the road. And for me, 100 miles was okay, well, that's my next challenge. And I don't know why. I enjoy being out there for, several hours and just running. So it's just therapeutic for me. So 100 miles is just another challenge.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And there's such a mental benefit that people, because at some point, it's more deteriorating physically to run 100 miles, that you're not getting any more physiological benefit, but the mental benefit that is there, that it also, that people don't understand it, but it's, it's kind of
and
like
I always
awakening.
thank my body for like what I put it through. Like, well, I'm sorry, but thank you for carrying me through.
Yeah, the human body is amazing. Okay,
to do something that you weren't even sure that you could do is a feeling that, I mean, it's indescribable.
it's so empowering.
It is
Yes,
so incredibly.
like,
and-
oh my gosh, if someone needed me to run 100 miles, there was an
Right.
emergency.
Yeah.
You got
for
this.
me, like, I've been a stay-at-home mom now for almost 9 years, and I gave up a lot to be a stay-at-home mom. I had a career. I was an elementary school teacher. I was a cheerleading coach. A lot of people don't know about that part of my life. I have a master's degree. Like, actually,
I've seen your spirit thing.
I guess. And so, I gave all that up to stay home with my kids, and that's a challenge for me to talk about sometimes too, because I loved my job. I really did. I miss it like crazy, and I know I was where I was supposed to be with my kids, and I absolutely love being a stay-home mom too. But you give up yourself to be a stay-at-home mom. And then, so last year when COVID hit was the year my youngest went to kindergarten. And so I never even got both kids off to school yet. And so it's like, I never really thought I'd still be a stay-home mom at 6 and 8,
Yeah.
And so running for me was my time out of my house and to do something for me, because everything else I do all day long is for everyone else. And it was the one thing I had for me, and it was a way I could feel challenged and accomplished without having the work environment that was taken away from me. Because, my work was my challenge.
Right.
And I'm an overachiever. And so whatever I do in life, I work hard at it. And so when you take that away, I needed something else to focus on and
Right, to feel like you're still growing.
Yes,
and,
I had to feel like I was still doing something. I just will never be complacent, and I can't be one that's just, go through the motions of the day. I still needed
This
something
is why
for
we're
me.
friends.
And
That's
but again, like, I wouldn't be able to be a stay-at-home mom
Yeah.
and do that without the support of my husband.
Yeah.
And my parents are close by too, and they definitely pitch in when needed as well and support what I do, because it is, it's time consuming, and so.
Yeah. And we want to hear Tim's why.
Yes.
So what inspired Tim to want to go for 100?
I've been running for, I was thinking about this, how long have I been running? I think it's been about 12 years. And I started off doing the 5Ks, the half marathons. I really love the half marathon distance because it doesn't take a whole lot of time to prepare for or recover from. After I recently, 2 years ago, retired after being in the military for a while. And, in those 20 years, I discovered I could push my body to do more than I would have thought I could do without having those experiences, So, transfer that over to the running, and okay, I've done a 5K, I've done a 10K, I've done a half marathon, I've done a marathon, I've done several marathons, and I'm really intrigued about like what else can my body do. Like God created this body to do something amazing, amazing things, and I think oftentimes we sell ourselves short. So just being really inspired by watching other YouTube videos and finding out about some amazing runners out there that do some really cool things and running in really neat places, and then just seemed like interesting to me and fun, and maybe I could do that too. So I thought, why not try? My furthest distance prior to this attempt was 40 miles, and I did that in 8 hours, in an 8-hour timed race, and did that a couple times, and it was a lot of fun. But I was like, man, it'd be really cool to see if I could do that 100 miles.
I think the takeaway here is that a 5K is a gateway to a 100-mile run. Yeah. So basically,
then now it's like marathon is the new gateway 5K. It's like for me, I ran in high school, took a very long hiatus, got attached again, and immediately was like, man, like this is like the mental disconnect. You just zone and go. Like, how did I like get away from this? Like, it was awesome to have it back, right? marathon is like bucket list thing for a lot of people. So you do it. Trained, just bad conditions, blew up. Man, I'm terrible at running marathons. I never want to do this again. 2 weeks later, I should run a 50 miler, because if I can run 50, I can like actually pace myself for a marathon. Right. That was the whole point, was to run 50 to get better at marathons. Probably overtrained. Well, you saw me the day after Tunnel Hill. I couldn't been. Well, you did too. Yeah.
So I want to clarify, I think, for everybody listening too, because you're probably the competitor that wants to run fast and just wants to go hard.
Yeah, because I'm Al Bundy, right? I used to be fast in high school. But when you're in your mid-30s and pick it back up 20 years later, like it just doesn't happen, right?
Right, you're just a different runner, you know.
Well, yeah. And injuries suck, right? Because you never get hurt in high school. And you get hurt now, and it takes
damn high
months.
Schoolers. They're like it
takes me months to recover from.
It's like a bad hangover.
But like that was the thought was, okay, well, I sucked at a marathon, and it was your first one, and it was like a hard course and like hot for the timing, whatever. Like, but 50 makes sense, right? So you do 50, and you overtrain for 50.
Spoken like a true runner.
You overtrain, and you're like, man, like. I'm going to like learn how to do this right? And so I'm going to run 50 Ks and 50 milers, and then DC hits you up in the spring. It's like, hey, like this is the year we're going to do 100.
She remembers it like you say.
It's like, well, sure. So then you sign up for every race imaginable as a training run, because it's easier to go race than to run long by yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And then COVID hits, and then all those races drop, and you realize I have to run by myself for a long time all summer, but you meet other people in the same boat, right? So like that's what we did. I mean, was.
What was your why in all of that? Like your why was what?
The why was
the driving force.
I had run one 50-mile race prior to the 100 and overtrained, had some knee issues at mile 30 of 50 and walked 20 to finish 50 and just would not give up. And but like it's the mindset, right? Like I can walk a couple more miles to the next aid station, and you get there and you are in bad shape, but it's like, man, the next one's only a few miles up, like I can keep going. And then like so like I guess to me, maybe you guys too, that's the big difference doing like something longer than a marathon. Everyone like thinks they're gonna die at the end of the marathon, but once you like get past a marathon, there's like a second wave of that where it's like not physical hurt, but it's like the mental hurt. Like, why am I doing this? This is terrible. Like, this is a bad decision. I'm never going to do this again. And then like your brain just opens up, and you really think about like why you're doing it. And it was like, I'm not doing it for anyone else but myself. And if I stop now, I'm only giving up on myself. So you finish because there's no other choice at that point. Like you just have came to that conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what hooked me on it was I loved walking to the edge and like leaning over it and like maybe teetering on one toe, like, kind of there. And then like you reel it back in and like it's back under control and you just do it. And like it's like 100 miles is like the ultimate version of that. Like there's multiple waves of that. Like 50 mile, you might feel physically bad, then you feel mentally like destroyed, and then you overcome it, and then it's done.
Yeah.
But like 100 miles is like it's like twice that. There's
here's
like,
your 20th second win.
Well,
wait, I'm gonna feel better in a minute. I'm gonna shake this off.
But that's the thing. I guess for me, like I used to like being fast. And like physically now, okay, it's questionable, right, at this point. So it's like a mental engagement thing. Like, what can I do that's going to be the most like brutal thing I can think of, and like make myself like pull myself back from like the ashes and like keep going, and like that's more fulfilling than a BQ time for me. Like, I mean, just I mean,
that is such a good point too, and I think that's important for everybody to hear what you just said, because in the pain there's learning, there's growth, you learn something about yourself that maybe like you didn't realize.
Yeah, and that was always my reference point. Like the 50 mile at Tunnel Hill, it sucked. It was terrible. But like that's the reference point. Everything, like no matter how bad it is, like was it worse than that?
Yeah.
No. Okay, we keep going then. That's just, it's just insane how you like reason it to yourself.
Well, and the brain controls everything, and if the brain is ready to go 100 miles, then the brain thinks that's what we're doing. That's why people think, I ran a half marathon and I can't even imagine going farther. That's because you weren't mentally prepared to go any farther.
Right.
But I mean, you guys have all shown that when the brain is prepared, I mean, you did your preparation and your training too, but the brain gets you to that starting line that this is actually a possibility, and then that's what helps you to keep going, because the brain is actually thinks, we're going to go for this, and sometimes. When you're only prepared to go 50, then you can't even imagine going 52 or 55. So that's a good point, and I hope everybody is paying attention to that too, because there's a lot of fear every day in everything we do, and if you can find a way to move forward in that fear, like fuel that, use that to fuel you for change. And now we have to go back to the race, because there's a whole back end of the run. At this point,
we're all
okay. We've only gone 50
like
miles.
A 3-hour
We've only gone 50 miles, and we need to hear.
I think the second half of this is very crucial.
Right.
Absolutely, because it was different for all of us.